can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
This is Snowman in the Morning, and it begins now.
That's a spicy meatball.
Need a little excitement?
Excuse me, bitch?
You know what? That makes me mad.
I ask myself, is it worth it? I answer myself, yes, it is worth it.
Did you not get the memo?
The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win! Set day Cleveland Cavaliers. Michael Jordan hits it at the foul line. 1 to 100. 20,273 in stunned silence here in the Coliseum. Michael Jordan with 44 points in a game hit the shot over Craig Elo. What tremendous heroics we have had in Game 5.
That is probably the greatest playoff shot ever. And, of course, that was on this day in 1989 when Michael Jordan hit what is now famously known as the shot over Craig Elo to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 5 of that series. The Bulls would beat the Knicks in 6, and they would lose to Detroit in 6. Good morning, everybody, from the road yet again. Snowman in the Morning back at you. We're presented by Cleaver Supplements, pure supplements for when genetics are just signing up. If you want to be a sponsor of this here show and the podcast within, drop an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. Lots to get to this morning. If I could find my notes. The hell with the notes. Let's just have some fun talking some sports, shall we? Got baseball to talk about. The Yankees seem to have found their stride. I'll talk to Trey Snide about that in about 120 seconds because he's due to call in now. Mookie Betts is swinging the ball well. Matt Harvey is gone from the Mets rotation. Adios, goodbye, and don't you come back no more. Going to talk a little hockey, playoff hockey, as the Vegas Golden Knights. You heard me correctly. The Vegas Golden Knights are making a ton of noise in the playoffs. What the hell is going on there? Talk more about that. And we got 3 hours lined up for you today, as Pete Wiseman is scheduled to join me during the second hour to talk the contracts of Matt Ryan, Jimmy Garoppolo. Is Aaron Rodgers next? We'll find out. And then during the third hour, Snowman's conversations with a young lady I met some 5 years ago who has now opened her own bookshop. And it is tremendous, and I can't wait to talk to her. But let's go back to the clip that you heard to start the show. Again, let me give you all the context of that because many people have heard me rant about one LeBron James. They say he's the greatest of all time. Baloney. I don't buy it. I ain't going to buy it. I will never buy it. You will never sell me on that because the greatest of all time was the original person to wear the number 23, and that's Michael Jordan. On this day in 1989 at the Richfield Coliseum, this day in 1989 at the Richfield Coliseum, he hit the shot that changed not one but two franchises. It vaulted the Bulls to their championship run, and it sunk the Cleveland Cavaliers. And y'all want to say LeBron's the greatest? Let him hit a shot like that in the finals, then we'll talk. Let him hit a shot like that. And here's the crazy part about this. Here's the context about this. The buzzer beater that LeBron James hit over the course of the weekend, in case you missed it, he hit a buzzer beater to beat Toronto. Cleveland's now up 3-0, and everybody wants to say that this version of LeBron James is the best ever and will surpass his airness. Wrong answer. I will say this. Magic Johnson uttered a statement that is so true and remains true to this day. And the statement he said is this, and I quote, Michael Jordan is the greatest player. Bill Russell is the greatest winner. Period. Bill Russell has 11 championships, and I don't think that record will ever be touched. He won 8 in a row. Of course, he spent his entire career with the Boston Celtics. 8 in a row will never be touched. But here's something a lot of people don't realize. You want to know why I don't even put LeBron James in my top 100? Let's take championships out of the equation. Let's take championships out of the equation. I will give you 3 fundamental reasons why I will never, ever in life put LeBron James as in my top 100. I got more on this tomorrow when I talk NBA. The 3 reasons are these, fundamentally. He doesn't have a left hand. He never can go to his left. He walks all the time. That Euro step that was introduced. Shut up. No, I'm on the road, and I got some guy. I'm having fun with him. I did this last Monday. I got some guy saying, "This is not college." Shut up. You want to, and that the third reason. Hey, listen. The third reason I'll never put LeBron James in my top 100. There is what's one of the most fundamental things about basketball? Free throws. He can't hit a doggone free throw in the playoffs to save his life. Period. That are 3 reasons of, and I'll say many more tomorrow when I open the show. 3 reasons of many I will never put LeBron James in my top 100. I put that statement on my Facebook page yesterday. Oh, dear God, the vitriol I got from that. Saying stuff like this guy's looking at me right now. I'm sitting in the Hardee's, folks. This guy's looking at me right now, and I'm having fun with this. This guy's looking at me right now going, "Are you crazy?" Yeah, damn right I'm crazy. Because I knew what I grew up with. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Chris Mullin, let me go on, Reggie Miller, my first favorite player of all time, Julius the Dr. Irving. That's basketball. I got more on this.
Right now, let's shift gears and talk baseball with Trey Side. He joins me via the IQ Energy Drink hotline. What's up, my brother? Whoop, I lost him. Dadgummit. I hope he calls back. Did I push the right button? Yes, I did push the right button. And Trey, there we go.
Yeah, good morning.
Hey, what's going on, my brother? How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I'm sorry I'm running a little bit late this morning. I do apologize about that.
I'm on the road. Does that tell you anything?
Yeah.
All right, let's talk some baseball.
There you go.
All right, let's talk some baseball. Talking baseball with Trey, presented by HiQ Energy Drink, a sponsor of the 3 and Out Radio Network, which syndicates the show. And as always, the first hour is presented by Cleveland Supplements. Dude, the Chop Shop is now open.
Yeah. You talking about in Atlanta?
The Atlanta Braves. The Chop Shop is back.
You're exactly right. I mean, I'm living life. And now, we did get swept by the San Francisco. But other than that, I mean, we ran into a extremely, extremely hot team in San Francisco. So I can't really take much of that. But Acuna is batting .336, 2 home runs, a couple of RBIs, and just absolutely destroying the outfield defensive-wise. Playing great. The baby Braves in Atlanta Braves right now are it's fun to watch. Again, we got swept. I'm not looking too much into what they're doing right now, just because it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it
happens
does.
Where it can happen to anybody. And sorry, doing stuff as I'm talking to you. Sorry about that. But I mean, hey, I told my wife the other day. I said, look, if you let me live in Atlanta and San Francisco, I'll do it. All you gotta do is let me. But, of course, with one kid and being married, I can't do that.
Yeah, you have a family, okay? That ain't going to happen anytime
That's true. That is true. But, we went up there when I was working with Napa Auto Parts. We went up there for a convention, and it was just absolutely beautiful.
I bet.
I don't use the word beautiful when it comes to sports, but it was beautiful. The stadium, just the customer service, the field, the hotel. I mean, it was just gorgeous. It was awesome.
Speaking of hot teams, the Atlanta Braves are one. I'll give you 2 more right now in the National League that just completed sweeps. I know you don't want to talk about one because they swept your Braves, but you got to look at the Giants, and you also got to look at the Cardinals.
You're exactly. Well, talking with the San Francisco Giants. I mean, good old Bumgarner should be coming back. Cueto just went out. Justin Martin's still hurt. So they have 3 guys that are really, or right now 2 guys that are on the DL that Cueto just went on it, but Bumgarner is starting to do activity, starting to throw again. So you start adding those kind of the high-powered pitchers, starting pitchers into your rotation. When Ty Black just played fantastic 2 days ago.
Man.
I mean, that came out of nowhere. He came in with a 5.33 ERA, and he acted like he was an ace of the staff on Saturday night.
And here's the scary part about the Giants. They may have started off bad, but think about it. They split with the Dodgers to open the season, and then I believe they took 2 out of 3 in San Francisco, and now they get a sweep. It just seems like the Giants, and I'll mention this other team again, the Cardinals are starting to round into form.
You're exactly right. And now the Cardinals took a big blow when they lost Yachty. He got hit in the groin area. He had immediate surgery. I mean, I would be out. And, I mean, so I don't know when he's going to come back. When you get hit in the nuts, 505 miles per hour off the bat, I mean, I'm surprised he still has any.
I'm surprised, too.
To be honest.
Now, let's stay in the National League for a moment. Will the Cincinnati Reds ever be competitive again?
Well, unfortunately, they tried to sell off some pieces, and they did. And but when they did that, they really didn't get anything in return. So normally when teams when they start losing, they start tearing down and rebuilding. I hate that word, rebuilding.
Yeah, I hate that word too.
It seems like you're disgracing your major league team, but that's what it is. They're rebuilding, and when teams do that, FYI, the Atlanta Braves, when Chicago Cubs, Houston, when they did that, they started trading off their players, getting high draft picks, drafting very well, and also trading for great prospects. Well, they haven't drafted very well the last couple of years. They haven't received any top prospect. The top prospect they received was Jose Peraza from the Atlanta Braves. He was the number 1 prospect in baseball, as well as the Atlanta Braves a couple of years ago. But they finally traded for him. He looked like he was going to be a cornerstone. Really hasn't stepped up to what they thought he was going to be. Now, this year, he's batting around the 260 mark, so it's better than normal. But still, 265, 270 is not going to cut it when they want you to be the franchise. And unfortunately, with Votto, you're not going to be able to trade a guy that's about to turn 33, 34.
33.
Still owed another 10 years on his contract. I mean, you're not going to be able to trade that.
No, you're not.
Unfortunately.
Great
player. Just turns out that he has a terrible team to build around him.
Right. Let's shift to the American League. The hottest team in the American League right now is a team you predicted would bounce back and bounce back big. And that team is what people call the evil empire, the New York Yankees. Yeah. How hot are these guys?
Yeah. I knew it. And, again, it all takes when 1 or 2 guys finally start hitting the baseball. They're going to start improving. Now it's the hitting, it's the offense, and it's the pitching. The starting rotation for the Yankees are playing lights out.
Man,
I'm okay with the sub 300 or 3 ERA for starting pitching because you're only giving up a few runs a game. I'm okay with that. When you have guys that can blast 600 feet of baseball per person, I mean, it's just you're able to give up 2 or 3 runs for sure.
Now, the Yankees just completed a series where they beat the defending world champion Houston Astros in their building. And we know they can do it because they did it a couple of times in the American League Championship Series. But Houston's always going to be lurking around. They have a title to defend this year.
Absolutely.
And they're not one to fool around either.
No, I mean, again, they added Garrett Cole, who is just stupid good. I mean, he was sensational. And the number 1 guy in Pittsburgh kind of had a couple down years, and then gets sent over to Houston and 13 strikeouts a game. I mean, he is playing stupid good. And when you add a piece like that and already to a good starting rotation anyway, and then you kind of piggyback that off of great offense and Altuve, Springer, finally stepped up the last couple of years. And then what do you do? I mean, you can go out there and do your best to try to beat them.
Yeah.
But there's not much. I mean, they're still a favorite to win because they didn't lose anybody. They gained, and they got better during the offseason. And you just don't see that much. Well, the Indians 2 years ago they picked up Encarnacion, but it hasn't stepped forward them into a World Series team. Again, they're always going to be there. My dad's probably going to shoot me through this phone if he hears me talking about that because he lives in Ohio. But it's one of those things because he's 15 minutes from the stadium in downtown. So he'll probably be upset with me. But it is what it is. I mean, they're going to be good, but they're not going to beat the Houston. I mean, Houston is just they're fun, they're exciting, and they're much, much better than anybody else.
And a player you forgot to mention with Houston that is slowly starting to come around, Carlos Correa.
Yeah, he's another perennial, possibly 30 home run guy, 30 stolen bases, 120 RBIs, and then piggyback that on great defense. I mean, one of the best shortstops in the game. I mean, what can you do? You have Correa, you have Altuve, and then you got Yu over the Guerrero in the first base, who's a great first baseman. So you start. I mean, what are you going to do? And there's not much you can say about how you're going to beat Houston because if you beat them out of, say, 100 games, you beat them twice, 3 times, you're doing pretty good.
Exactly. That's why they are the defending world champions. Let's stay in New York. Another thing that if y'all listened to the show last week, and I want to say about 1,700 people did between the live and the replays, and we thank you all very much. There was something else that you predicted that should happen that did. Let's go back to New York. Matt Harvey is gone.
Yep. And it's another situation where the team got fed up with him, the player got fed up with the team, and they said, you know what? It's just time to go. Just think what the Mets could have gotten for Matt Harvey just 3 years ago when he was on top of his game.
Exactly.
All you had to do was trade that piece away, and you would have received 2 or 3 ready-to-go Major League prospects.
And it's
not anymore.
And to your point, the ideal time to trade him was right after they after they appeared in the World Series in 2015. Because, like you said, he was on his game. This was before the injuries happened.
Yeah, and he's still a good pitcher. He just lost, and I'll use this. He's lost his mojo. He's lost once you start hating where you are and you're located. I mean, I've been in the cities and I've been in houses that I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. And then I find every bit of information to put against that city and try to hate it. That's exactly what Matt Harvey did with the New York Mets. He was just tired of being in the dog pound.
Right.
He was tired of being kind of pushed over and being told what to do. And, most guys, just like, again, Garrett Cole, he flourished as soon as he left Pittsburgh. He's not the number one guy, even though he can be. Justin Verlander, who is the ace of the staff, he's doing fantastic, even though he's been fantastic his entire year. But he flourished again when he went over to Houston. That's in my opinion, that's what's going to happen to Matt Harvey. I don't know where he's going to go. In my opinion, he's going to go to the New York Yankees. He's going to stay in New York so he can make fun of the Mets later on. He can start in the bullpen because they don't need him in the starting rotation, and he'll be happy with that. I think because the Mets are going to pay him no matter what now, so he gets paid even if he sits on his ass on the couch watching TV. So,
kind of like the Bobby Bonilla situation some 20 years
55
ago.
years old. I saw a stat on or a photo on Facebook the other day, and it says with Acuna, Ozzie Albies, and Mike Soroka from the Atlanta Braves will be combined. They're only sub-20. One's 19, Acuna's 19, Ozzie is 20, and then Mike Soroka is 20. They're going to pay the New York Mets guy right now $1.5 million. He's 55 years old. Combine those 3 players, they're going to make $1.5 million.
Yep.
I think that's who is running the organization? I mean, that's stupid.
It is
that's
stupid.
Just waste of money.
That is stupid, but the deal got done.
Yep, it is what it is.
Well,
hey,
speaking of young studs, let's go to the American League for a moment. Mookie Betts hitting the daylights out of everything.
Yeah, I mean, 3 home runs here, 3 home runs there. Eventually, he's going to have a 5 home run game, and we're going to say, well, why didn't he go for 6? And so now we're expecting it. To be honest, we're expecting to see it. I mean, what a player! And a couple of years ago, people would say, let's get Mookie Betts out of the organization. There's no reason why he needs to be our stud in the right field, blah, 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 blah. Well, he said, shut the heck up. I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to continue. I know I can be great. And now look at him. The Red Sox had a deal in place with a few different teams about 4 years ago. And they said, we're going to hold on to him. We're not going to do that. And sure enough, he's paid off for sure.
And you know what I love about that? What I love about that is the fact that they held on to him. They held on to him and said, you know what, let's give this kid a shot. We've been trying to deal him. Let's see how he can deal for us. And he's been great. He's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. I mean, baseball is fun again. I mean, the long ball's there. The strikeouts are still there. Offense, defense. I mean, when you start getting these young prospects coming up, and you still have the veterans, obviously. You need a little mix of veteran and young prospects of it. But once you start mixing these together and you start bringing up these young players, I mean, Mookie Betts is what, 25?
25.
24? Yeah, I mean, come on. And he's not even hit his prime yet.
Mm-mm.
So that's how scary he's going to be.
That is indeed how scary he's going to be. Now, I've had a ton of requests in the past week for something that we've integrated always at the end of our segment. I know you got to go here in a couple of minutes. But who is your stud of the week and who is your dud of the week? Let's start with the best. Who's your stud of the week?
Well, I'm a homer. I'm going to stick with Nick Markakis. I'm going to go with Nick Markakis of the Atlanta Braves.
All right.
He's leading the National League in average going into the weekend. I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at the stats, and I apologize for that right now. But Nick Markakis is not the typical 4-hole hitter. You have Ozzie, Acuna, Freddie Freeman, who is being Freddie Freeman, and then Nick Markakis. So much talk is going in on Facebook and all the groups that I'm in that why is Nick Markakis in the 4th hole? I said, well, what has he done to not be in the 4th hole?
Exactly.
All he does is hit it. He's going to be the most quietest 3,000 hitter in Major League Baseball history. Back when, you didn't say, well, who the heck is Nick Markakis? Well, he was drafted number 1 overall for the Baltimore Orioles. All he did as soon as the day 1 coming into the minor leagues, he hit. Now, he has some eye problems, has some neck problems, shoulder problems. But now the Atlanta Braves are getting what they paid for. I mean, all he does is hit. I mean, he's had great at-bats all season long, batting .336, has 20 RBIs, 5 home runs. He's already surpassed his home runs for the past 2 years in a row. I mean, so I'm happy as can be as a Braves fan for Nick Markakis, so that is definitely my stud of the week.
Well, my stud of the week is split between Albert Pujols for getting his 3,000 hit and the man simply known as Ichiro. Now, they said in Seattle that he could come back and play in 2019, but even if he doesn't, what more can you say about careers like those two, Albert Pujols and Ichiro Suzuki?
I mean, I don't know. And he really doesn't need to come back. I mean, your daughter be, 50? And is that? I mean, am I realistic about saying he's almost 50 years old?
He's 40.
And he's still,
yeah. he's 42
right
now.
Still hitting. He's still hitting. He's still playing great defense. But then the Mariners brought him back to be in his organization to retire as a Mariner. So
right.
Hopefully, he needs to be in the front office. He'll forever have a job in the front office in that organization because he's always been a great player. He never complained about anything. And this day and age, you just don't. There's only a few select players, not to jump from Major League to football, but we saw the the complaining and babyish Big Ben over in Pittsburgh after they drafted Mason Rudolph,
Yep.
who I thought was a exact same player as would be Big Ben.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's just upset that they finally got his replacement after he says, we're gonna retire. Yeah. But whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. So not to jump off track there.
It's all right. It's all right. Who's your dud of the week?
Now this was tough because this week it's actually been pretty great. There hasn't been much to complain about, but I'm gonna go with, again, I'm gonna stick with my Atlanta Braves. I'm gonna stick with the entire rotation, the starting rotation.
I thought so.
And again, that's a mix of a lot of things in one. But Brandon McCarthy got roughed up. Mike Soroka got roughed up yesterday, allowed 4 runs, and Teheran is doing. So the starting rotation in Atlanta Braves, let me start here. They have a phenomenal week where Mike Soroka, Brandon McCarthy, Julio Teheran gave up exactly 0 runs for a starting rotation. 0 in their 3 starts. Okay? This weekend, Brandon McCarthy gave up 6 runs in a matter of 3 innings. Mike Soroka gave up 4 runs in a matter of 3 innings. And Mike Fuentes gave up 6 runs in a matter of 2 innings. So we could have a phenomenal week, and then all of a sudden this weekend and I'm not going to put much on it, but we ran into a hot San Francisco Giants team. That's just the name of the game. They ran into a hot team. But we should not give them 6 to 7 to 8 runs a game before we even get out of the 4th inning.
Right. Right.
So that is that. I'm going to go with the collectively starting rotation of the Atlanta Braves.
Those are our studs and duds of the week. And that is Trey Snide joining me here on the HiQ Energy Drink Hotline. Remember, you can listen to Snowman in the Morning Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern on iHeartRadio, courtesy of 3 and Out Radio, a syndication partner of Snowman in the Morning. Always great to talk baseball with you, my friend.
You too, my friend. Take care. Love you, brother.
Love you, brother. Thanks a lot.
See ya.
Pause for a break, and when we come back, we're gonna shift from baseball to hockey. What? Yes, we're bringing hockey talk back in a deuce.
Welcome to the Butcher Box. Our beef is exactly the way that nature intended. 100% grass-fed and grass-finished, antibiotic and hormone-free, and never taken from feedlots. Just 100% healthy meat. We offer 2 to 5 day delivery to the contiguous 48 states. The meat is flash frozen at the peak of freshness, packed with dry ice, and shipped directly to your door. The beef is sourced from a collection of small grass-fed farms. It is of the utmost quality and tastes incredible. Our steak won a blind taste test cook-off with the Today Show in 2015. So for 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef, organic chicken, and heritage-bred pork delivered for free on your schedule for less than $6 per meal, visit arenasportsnet.com and click on the Butcher Box logo, and if you do so, you will receive 10% off your first order, or give Butcher Box a call at 855-981-8568.
Hey fans, spring is here and Cleaver Supplements invites you to spring into action to get in the best shape of your life. Our supplements and products will help you do just that. You had a good winter season, and now it's time to show off and keep that great shape, great attitude, and work on getting even better for your life. Our Fat Burner, Super Swole Serum, and other products will keep you on track to a healthier and happier you. Do it for your family, do it for your friends, but most of all, do it for you. For more information, visit us online at cleaversupplements.com. Cleaver Supplements, pure supplements for when genetics are just not enough.
Hey folks, Snowman here from Snowman in the Morning. Do you have a graduate coming up here soon? Well, it's that time of season, and you want to get your graduate a great gift. All you got to do is visit thegraduatesgift.com. That's thegraduatesgift.com. Pick the gift that you want for the graduate that you need. Thegraduatesgift.com.
Imagine a world where kids no longer played football, or baseball, or basketball. Hard to imagine? But what if no adults wanted to officiate? Right now, there's a critical shortage of high school officials, and you can do your part to make sure kids keep playing. For more information on how to become a licensed IHSA official, contact your local high school or visit the IHSA website at ihsa.org.
A message from the Illinois High School Association. Stay in the game.
Hey folks, Snowman here. Do you have an athlete that you want to get trained in the best shape of their life for the sport coming up this coming season? Well, all you have to do is visit Elite Athletic Training, eliteathletictraining.com. They'll get your athlete in shape and get you ready to enjoy the benefits.
Unforgettables. Nice. This show is sponsored by Unforgettables. Unforgettables creates detailed hand-painted baseballs for every baseball fan. Check them out at unforgettables.com.
Coming soon, the new wave of hydration and energy drink HIQ. This new product is all natural with no caffeine and gives you a major boost of hydration and energy. No twitching effect or crashing like the old energy drinks. You can visit our website at www.liquidhiq.com or Twitter at HiQ2015 to learn more about this amazing energy drink. What is your level?
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Illinois high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too. This message presented by the Illinois High School Association and the Illinois Athletic Directors Association.
This is the King of Connecticut, Matt Granahan. And there's a new sheriff in town and a new king of morning talk. So move over, Howard Stern, Brian Snow, the Snowman, Snowman in the morning. Catch the show every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
Next! What? Are you kidding me? Need a little excitement?
You know what?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Oh, boy. Thank you to Trey Snide for dropping by or dropping on the hotline to talk some baseball with us. You can hear him every Monday morning on Snowman in the Morning. And I thank him for dropping by. And hold up, wait a minute. What's that I'm hearing here? Oh yeah, I had to improvise with his opening. The green room is back, and we're ready to talk some NHL playoff hockey, the way it needs to be. Mike Green's on the hotline with me this morning. What's up, Mike?
Good morning.
Good to have you back on, my friend.
Yeah, it's great to be back on.
Okay, let's just start at the top. The Vegas Golden Knights. What?
Probably the most incredible story in sports in the last, 20, 30 years.
They just played their way dominantly, I might add, into the Western Conference Final. You talked about this online all season long of the way they put their team together from the front office to the players. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, as I spoke earlier in the season, they did a great job in last year's expansion draft. Because of the hard salary cap in the NHL, every team in the league had to leave at least two players unprotected for them to select. And what they did was they selected a lot of speed up front, speed and skill. They got themselves a dominant goaltender, Marc-Andre Fleury from Pittsburgh, who was a cap casualty there. And you're seeing the results. They just did a great job of building their team. And I thought eventually they were going to fade. It just didn't happen.
And something else that I spoke of on an earlier show, not only did they build their team, they built a hockey community in the strangest cities of all, which is Las Vegas.
They are. I was reading a story where they got a season ticket waiting list for the next 15 years.
I believe it.
So that has become a hockey hotbed, and the way they're going, they have a legitimate threat, obviously, to win the Stanley Cup. If they get by either Winnipeg or Nashville, we'll find out maybe tonight who they'll play in the conference finals. It's an incredible story, a first-year expansion team. And in the NHL, this is the only sport where that's possible.
It is indeed. And they shut out San Jose in the Shark Tank 3-0. And for the most part, the Shark Tank is a difficult place to play. But if you think about it, even though they went 6 games with San Jose, Vegas has made this look incredibly easy.
Well, yeah, they disposed of the Kings quickly. And last night, Marc-Andre Fleury was terrific. You get great goaltending in the playoffs, you can go a long way. But their team speed, that's something I've been talking about all year. They are faster than everybody else, and that's the key. They are faster. There's a lot of quick teams in the league, but they are the quickest.
Yeah, this is true, and they're proving it. And you spoke of the team they may face in the Winnipeg Jets, who hold a 3-2 lead over Nashville. How about this Winnipeg Jets team?
They're very similar to Vegas. They're extremely fast and talented up front. The difference is, I think, that Winnipeg has 2 outstanding blue liners in Dustin Byfuglien and Jacob Trouba. If you've been watching these playoffs, Dustin Byfuglien has been kicking some butt and taking some names. And they would definitely be – that would be a great series with Vegas. You're talking about elite-level speed from both teams. And we may get that tonight if Winnipeg finishes off Nashville in Winnipeg tonight.
And we talked about home ice advantage with Vegas. Talk about the home ice advantage with Winnipeg. It's incredible.
That has become one of the loudest arenas in the building. The place is white out, which you'll see again tonight. That has become a very loud arena, Winnipeg. And, Canadian crowds are not known for that, but Winnipeg is definitely getting a home ice advantage, and they should be able to finish off Nashville tonight.
What's happened in Nashville? I mean, they were hotter than a pistol last summer or last spring when they swept the Blackhawks and went on to the Stanley Cup final. What's happened to them this spring?
Well, if you watch this series against Winnipeg, Pekka Rinne has not brought his A game.
Right.
And like I said, you don't have great goaltending, you're going to have a hard time winning a series. Of Pekka Rinne, who has been great all season long, he's definitely a candidate to win the Vezina Trophy.
Mm-hmm.
As a top goalie, he has not been as sharp this series against Winnipeg.
Yeah, this is so true. Let's go to the Eastern Conference. Tampa Bay advances to the East Final. They dispose of Boston in 5 games, 3-1. And is this finally the year for the Washington Capitals? They're up 3-2 on the defending champs. Let's start with that series. What has Washington done mentally to, as it looks, get over the hump?
Yep, they play tonight. Game 6 in Pittsburgh tonight. They can get that Pittsburgh monkey off their back, which has been a problem for them in playoffs years past, and they'll go on and play Tampa Bay next round. Very simple. Washington's getting goal scoring from all 4 lines. Ovechkin's been great, as we all knew he would be, but they've been physical with the Penguins. They've been pushing them around a little bit, and they've been getting scoring from 4 lines, and they've been physical with Pittsburgh. That's what you have to be against the Penguins. You got to rattle Pittsburgh a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you. Do you have to be physical with Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh thrives on that? That's how they won the last 2 cups, and Washington has beat them to the punch.
Yes, they have, especially defenseman Tom Wilson, who has been suspended for the rest of the series for that hit he put on that Pittsburgh player, broke his jaw. But they've been physical with Crosby and Malkin and those guys, and that's right now that has paid off. They're up 3-2. They got a chance to finish them off tonight in Pittsburgh.
How big is it for Washington, mentally and emotionally, if they were to win tonight in Pittsburgh?
Well, that would definitely get a monkey off their back. The Penguins have been a playoff demon for them for many years. So Also, too, you got to remember now, this is the third year in a row Pittsburgh has been playing hockey almost till June. You got to wonder maybe they might be running out of gas because they've won the last 2 Stanley Cups. Maybe Pittsburgh is running out of gas a little bit.
Speaking of running out of gas, we talked about this off the air all season long, and I'll put it in the form of a simple question. What's next for the Chicago Blackhawks for them to get competitive again? Because it seemed like they ran out of gas right after the top of the season.
It's going to be an interesting summer. As I have stated many times, I don't think this is a full rebuild, but this is a team that has to add some pieces. This team has a nice core of young players, and unlike past summers, they won't have a salary cap slaughter this year. Matter of fact, they're going to have cap space this summer to add players. What I think they need to add is they need to add 2 top-notch defensemen and a top 6 forward, and for God's sakes, a backup goaltender who's NHL caliber.
Yeah, because our goaltending was abysmal this past season, which has been the exact opposite of what we had in the years that we won the Stanley Cup. The goaltending has been abysmal.
Well, assuming Crawford comes back, and I haven't read anything where he's not going to be ready to go come training camp, they got to get a quality backup goaltender because those 3 clowns we put in there this past year, Glass, Forsberg, and Berube, were just awful. And
yeah.
When Crawford got hurt, when he was out for the year, that pretty much was the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because Crawford's our top goalie, and when you don't have a backup goalie, it's kind of like the situation with Pittsburgh a few years ago when they went to Detroit and won with Marc-Andre Fleury, who was backing up another goalie. You're going to have some trouble. So a backup goalie is going to be a paramount for the Hawks. Who do you see out on the market that could be a great backup for the Blackhawks?
Well, right now, but the Buffalo Sabres, one of the Buffalo Sabres goaltenders is going to be out there. Excuse me. There's going to be a whole list of names out there. I think the Hawks first are going to try to address their defense core. Duncan Keith is rumored to be on a trade block, and that the Florida Panthers may be interested because Dale Talon still runs them.
Right.
Right now, the Hawks have about $7.5 million of cap space, and if the cap goes up about $5 million like it's supposed to, at least that's what I read, the Hawks will have some cap space where they can add some pieces, and they do have to add. They need help on defense. Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook are not number 1, number 2 defensemen anymore. They've aged. Father Time has caught up with them. They definitely need help on defense, and they could use another top 6 forward. And I really believe next year you're going to see a comeback season from Taves and Saad. And if that happens, we can get back into contention very quickly.
Very, very quickly indeed. This is one of the few years that I've covered Blackhawk hockey, and they're not playing until June. But you know what? I really think with everything that's happened with them, the injuries, the abysmal goaltending, this served as a wake-up call for the Blackhawks.
And it's an organization that will not accept mediocrity. That's what's unlike the other Chicago sports teams.
Right.
The Blackhawks are not going to tolerate this from Rocky all the way down. You heard their slogan, 1 goal, and if they don't win the Stanley Cup, the season's a failure. And this is a team that's not far away. Everybody thinking, they got to rebuild. They don't have to rebuild. They got to retool a little bit.
Yeah.
But they got some really good, nice young players in Schmaltz and DeBrincat and Gustafson and et cetera. But they got to add. They need some help on defense, and they got to upgrade that backup goaltending position.
Absolutely.
And they need Jonathan Toews to beat Jonathan Toews next season. The same thing with Brandon Saad.
You mentioned something that also applies in this case. Think of the 9-year run that the Blackhawks had, and how much miles they put on their legs and the ice time and everything. This summer of rest could really get them retooled mentally as well as physically, because they put a lot of miles on them after winning 3 Cups in 6 years.
It's not fun not making the playoffs, but this is a team with a lot of miles on. You got to remember they won 3 Cups, so they played the mid-June those 3 years. 1 year they lost to the Kings in the conference finals, so they played almost a June 1st that year. There's a lot of miles on those tires of some of our core guys, and it showed up this year.
It did. It really, really did. I'll leave one fun note for you. Come this year in college football, your team will see my team at Soldier Field. Of course, I'm talking about Notre Dame and Northwestern, and I think that's going to be a fun game.
That's right.
We will talk about that when we get to it, and hopefully, if I can pull it off, and I'm going to try, Mike and I will be covering that game from Soldier Field. More details later. Mike Green inside the green room joining me here on the hotline this morning. Good to have you back, brother. Let's talk all through the summer.
All right. Enjoy the game, the Stanley Cup playoff action tonight, and I'll be back to talk about it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Talk to you next Monday.
Okay. Have a great day.
Well, you heard him tonight. Nashville will need to win to extend their series because Winnipeg leads that series 3-2. Winnipeg's win. They're in the Western Conference Finals. They'll face the top-seeded Vegas Golden Knights, and the Washington Capitals will try to exercise the demon known as the Pittsburgh Penguins. If they do so on the road, then they go to Tampa where they have the Lightning waiting for them. Due for a break, but when we come back, I got a question.
We'll do it live.
Wait. I did not mean to press that button. I'm so sorry. Try this again. Pause for a break, and when we come back, and believe me, we will be back. I have a question of the day for you. What does it concern? Hell, I don't know. Tell you in the deuce.
Hey fans, spring is here and Cleaver Supplements invites you to spring into action to get in the best shape of your life. Our supplements and products will help you do just that. You had a good winter season and now it's time to show off and keep that great shape, great attitude, and work on getting even better for your life. Our Fat Burner, Super Swole Serum, and other products will keep you on track to a healthier and happier you. Do it for your family, do it for your friends, but most of all, do it for you. For more information, visit us online at cleaversupplements.com. Cleaver Supplements, pure supplements for when genetics are just not enough.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare young people in Illinois for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Illinois High School Association and the Illinois Athletic Directors Association.
This is the King of Connecticut, Matt Granahan. And there's a new sheriff in town and a new king of morning talk. So move over, Howard Stern, Brian Snow, the Snowman. Snowman in the morning. Catch the show every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Carolina Security Consultants is your residential security consultants leader. Our security assessment is custom tailored for each project. Give Danny a call, 336-312-5326. Make sure to tell them 3 and Out sent you.
Some energy drinks want to scare you. Some even want to bully you around. And the others, they're just blowing smoke. Packed with vitamins B3, B5, B6, and B12, the new HiQ energy drink comes available in 4 exciting flavors. Skyberry Fusion, Apple, Coconut Fruit Punch, and Lemon Lime. Natural caffeine, no preservatives, no crash, no bull. HiQ energy drink. Wings are for birds.
Snowman in the Morning is fueled by Cleaver Supplements. Hey folks, summer is approaching and it's time to get your body kick-started. With that in mind, reach for the supplements that will do just that. Cleaver Supplements. Cleaver Supplements provide natural supplements to help you lose weight, get stronger, and have greater workouts, all to propel you towards your summer body and mind goals. Visit cleaversupplements.com today and get on the best track to a healthier you. Cleaver Supplements, pure supplements when genetics just aren't enough. This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
Next! What? Are you kidding me? Need a little excitement?
You know what?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Oh, Lordy. First hour is just about complete. It's been presented by Cleaver Supplements. This is Snowman in the Morning. On the road. We're still getting our new digs, and we'll have those soon. We'll keep you updated on the progress of such. And when we do get our new digs, we're going to add a little video to the fun as well. Second hour on the way. Peter Wiseman will join me at quarter after the hour to talk some NFL stuff, contracts with Matt Ryan, Jimmy Garoppolo. Is Aaron Rodgers next? We'll mix in Matt Stafford in the conversation. And then the third hour, we'll have Tennille Jackson, a very good friend of mine, entrepreneur extraordinaire. I'll explain what that means, or better yet, she'll explain what that means. Also during the second hour, my good friend Mike Lyle will join me to talk mental illness in the black community, which includes depression, something I have been fighting for the better part of 10 years. You all don't want to miss that. All right, it's time for the question of the day. And this morning, since I'm on the road sitting in this place and I had a great breakfast by him, it's presented by Hardee's, home to the cinnamon raisin biscuit, a personal favorite of the Snowman. Visit your local Hardee's for more. All right, here's a question, and it goes a little something like this. For all you NBA aficionados out there, what do you think is the greatest playoff shot ever? I'll say it again. I'll ask it again. What do you think is the greatest playoff shot, playoff buzzer beater? I didn't say it right. What do you think is the greatest playoff buzzer beater ever? Now, y'all already know my answer to that question. I opened the show with it, and it sounds like this.
The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win! Set the Cleveland Cavaliers. Michael Jordan hits it at the foul line. 1 to 100. 20,273 in stunned silence here in the Coliseum. Michael Jordan with 44 points in a game hit the shot over Craig Elo. What tremendous heroics we have had in Game 5.
I could hear that all day. And that brings me to my on this day. I did it at the top of the show, but I think that's the greatest playoff shot ever. The greatest playoff buzzer beater ever. Michael Jordan did it to the Cavs. The year was 1989 on this day, where he won Game 5 on a Sunday afternoon. And oddly enough, I didn't see it. I was outside playing baseball with some friends of mine. I came back in, and my dad was messing with me, and I said, how bad was it? Because, everybody was picking Cleveland. I said, how bad was it? He said, it was pretty bad. So I hung my head, and he's like, and then I started to walk away, and then he goes, but they won. I said, what? Then I saw what happened. Since then, I have now gotten the full game in my video collection, but I'm looking for the voice you'd heard who voiced that was the great Jim Durham, the late, great Jim Durham. Can't believe I'm still saying late. If anybody was looking for a reason of why I got into broadcasting or what inspired me to get into broadcasting, his voice right there, Jim Durham, called that buzzer beater one of the most iconic play-by-play calls in basketball. And I think that's the greatest playoff buzzer beater I've ever seen. Now, people, and I've opened the show with this, I'm going to continue to state my opinion. Everybody wants to say LeBron's buzzer beater against Toronto is the greatest. Baloney. I ain't buying it. I also said, let LeBron do this in the finals and then we'll talk. And I know the immediate retort that people will say, well, Mike didn't hit a buzzer beater in the finals. Want to bet? 98 against Utah, game winner. You know, a lot of people say, why'd you pick this? This was in the first round. Because it changed the fate of two franchises for the better part of 20 years. That's why I picked this. Were there other buzzer beaters? Hell yeah. And there will be some that will probably have more significance than this one that I've selected. I realize that. But from my time in watching basketball, in getting in tune with the NBA in its golden era, if there was ever a shot that defined a playoff buzzer beater, and one that could qualify is Dennis Johnson's buzzer beater against the Lakers in Game 4 of the 85 World Championship Series. God rest you, DJ. But I will always hold this shot in high regard. In fact, the highest of the high regard. Because as I stated earlier, and I will continue to state and will continue to mention, that shot by Michael Jordan on this day in 1989 changed the fate of two franchises. One soared, one sank. I always make the joke, I always make the joke with a lot of people being LeBron stans, and yes, I said stans. I just heard the term. I don't know what the hell it means. It means they're extreme LeBron riders. With all the LeBron stans that I have run into over the years, that Toronto shot for them was heaven, aside of the chase down block against Golden State in the finals 2 years ago. And in case you don't remember, last year the Warriors got even. They got even. And I made the statement Cleveland will never see the finals again, and they won't. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Hey, it happens. Happens to the best of us. But this shot that is universally known, once again, I'll say it again and again and again and again, changed the fate of two franchises. And if you think about it, the legacy of the Cleveland Cavaliers is this. It ain't LeBron. It ain't Mike Brown. It's not the fact that LeBron's been to 8 straight finals and finally brought Cleveland a championship, which I believe is fraudulent. And I'll talk more about that tomorrow when I go completely off on that subject. This shot right here changed the fate of two franchises. Two. It set the Bulls on their way up and set the Cavaliers on their way down. So I don't care what anybody says. I really don't. I don't. But you're not going to sell me on the fact that LeBron's buzzer beater was one of the greatest of all time. Baloney. I ain't buying it, neither should you. For all the old schoolers that know where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about, you know how significant this shot is. In fact, in the next season, when they played in a regular season game at Chicago Stadium, Jim Durham uttered one of the greatest lines ever. One of the greatest lines ever, considering who was defending MJ on a play in the fourth quarter. And what he said was, matter of fact, let me just find it. I'm going to find it. Now, let me give some credit where credit's due. I was trying to surprise a friend. It didn't work. Well, let me thank everybody that has tuned in so far. We got, I'd say, about 100 folks tuning in. You can catch the replay, and I didn't do this at the top of the show. Forgive me. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. The ID you need is SIT Morning, at SIT Morning. And you can find us on, let me go from the top, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, courtesy of 3 and Out, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts. Yeah, we're on all of them. We're on all of them. We're growing. We're growing. We're into the second hour of Snowman in the Morning on the road. And like I said, part of this is brought to you by Hardee's here in Dayton. I had a great breakfast here. Thank you to the good folks here that hooked the Snowman up. And I think I found what I'm looking for. Now, this was January 5th, 1991. Jim Durham and Johnny Kerr on the call. It was aired on WGN as well as WMVP Radio. And this is the line Jim Durham said.
And it always happens to Craig Elo.
It always happens to Craig Elo. Best line I ever heard in a play-by-play call. You think that pissed off Craig Elo somewhat? Ha ha! But it's great. It's absolutely great. It was on this day in '89 where MJ hit the shot that changed not one but 2 franchises, and I believe that's the greatest playoff buzzer beater in NBA history. What are your thoughts? Tweet the show at SIT Morning. I'm going to put that question up. I'm going to take a break, and when we come back, I'll get ready for some football with Peter Wiseman. But first, a food memory when I come back.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare young people in Illinois for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Illinois High School Association and the Illinois Athletic Directors Association.
This show is sponsored by Unforgettables. Unforgettables creates detailed hand-painted baseballs for every baseball fan. Check them out at unforgettables.com.
Some energy drinks want to scare you. Some even want to bully you around. And the others, they're just blowing smoke. Packed with vitamins B3, B5, B6, B12, the new HiQ energy drink comes available in 4 exciting flavors. Skyberry Fusion, Apple, Coconut Fruit Punch, and Lemon Lime. Natural caffeine, no preservatives, no crash, no bull. HiQ energy drink. Wings are for birds.
Hey fans, spring is here and Cleaver Supplements invites you to spring into action to get in the best shape of your life. Our supplements and products will help you do just that. You had a good winter season and now it's time to show off and keep that great shape, great attitude, and work on getting even better for your life. Our Fat Burner, Super Swole Serum, and other products will keep you on track to a healthier and happier you. Do it for your family, do it for your friends, but most of all, do it for you. For more information, visit us online at cleaversupplements.com. Cleaver Supplements, pure supplements for when genetics are just not enough.
Are you following the show yet? You're not? Shame on you. Follow us on our social media at SIT Morning on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat.
This is the king of Connecticut, the suntanned Superman himself, the one and only Matt Granahan, telling you about the one and only Arena Sports Network, the place where every fan has a voice and every team has a fan.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
That's...
Excuse me, bitch?
Are you kidding me? What?
The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win! Set the Cleveland Cavaliers. Michael Jordan hits it at the foul line. 1 to 100. 20,273 in stunned silence here in the Coliseum. Michael Jordan with 44 points in a game hit the shot over Craig Elo. What tremendous heroics we have had in Game 5.
Okay, stop playing it. Oh, man. Got a few minutes before Peter Wiseman comes on to talk some NFL football with me, and then Michael Weil will join me at the bottom of this second hour to talk mental illness in the black community, a subject a lot of people don't want to discuss, but damn it, we will. That'll come at the top. That'll come out of this hour. Now then, I got a food memory here. Now, y'all know I love food, okay? You also know I love talking about food. Well, I spotted a post on Facebook that kind of brought me to tears, man. No, it did. But it did bring back some memories. Now, this is for all of my fans in Chicago, my hometown. Do y'all remember a place named Bennigan's? Before they closed down, a popular restaurant? I sure do. And the sandwich that was mentioned in this post, if you can believe what it was called a Monte Cristo. Now, what this Monte Cristo was, and it wasn't regular bread either. They stuck the fixings of a Monte Cristo inside, I don't want to say it was a bun, but they had it set up so perfectly that it would, oh my God, it was so succulent. It was, like I said, it was everything that a Monte Cristo is, sprinkled with powdered sugar. It was one of the most sinful, evil, and delicious sandwiches I ever had in my life. I'll never forget the first time I had one. It was on my birthday in 2015. 2015. What the hell is wrong with me? I'm sorry. 2006, when a bunch of us, including my producer Victor, who's also my engineer, and my friend Devin, my friend Frank, Victor's girlfriend at the time, we all went to Bennigan's. And that was the first time I had that Monte Cristo, and I fell in love with it. And I had it for my birthday. You know what? Anybody from Chicago that remembers Bennigan's, you remember that sandwich. And if you don't remember, look it up. It was called a Monte Cristo, and the meal they served it with fries or whatever drink you wanted, but it was just that sandwich. It was just that sandwich that they had at Bennigan's. They had some in Chicago, they had some in Northwest Indiana, and I remember the one that we went to was in, if I remember correctly, it was in Maryville, Indiana. Man, that was a hell of a sandwich. What's your favorite? What's a favorite food item from y'all that came from a place that is no longer open? What is you guys' favorite food that came from a restaurant that is no longer open? I'll ask you that in a little bit. All right, time to talk some football. Man!
Hello?
Let's talk some football! And this portion.
What's going on,
Snowman? What's up, Pete? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Glad to be with you on this beautiful morning.
Yeah, it is. It is. Pete Wiseman joining me here via the HiQ Energy Drink hotline. I was getting everything queued up, and he just said, hey, never mind the cues. Let's just get going here. So let's get going. Matt Ryan signs a $30 million a year contract, putting him ahead of Matthew Stafford and Jimmy Garoppolo. My opening question to you, is this worth it for Atlanta?
Well, I don't know, Brian. I was just looking at his contract the other day because I was talking about it on the show, and this is a guy that threw 20 touchdowns last year, which is a pretty low number for a quarterback these days. And he had 12 interceptions, which is, in comparison, that's a very high number. So you have not a very good ratio there, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, not a good ratio. And here this guy is now the highest paid quarterback, highest paid player in NFL history, and not even really putting up that great of numbers. So to me, it's, hey, lucky for Matt Ryan, and lucky for guys like Aaron Rodgers and maybe even Tom Brady, who will be able to turn this into something great for themselves. But for the Atlanta Falcons and the rest of the NFL, I think that this is a very sad day, because here you're paying guys that are, I would say Matt Ryan's better than mediocre, but just above average probably. You're paying him the highest paid amount of money that any player has ever received in NFL history. To me, that's crazy, and just kind of marks the end of an era where there was fairness and balance, because it's going to be hard now. Anytime any quarterback comes up, they're now giving him the highest contract that anybody's ever received. I mean, guys like Garoppolo played for 5 years or 5 games. I mean, and doesn't even really have much of a resume behind him. And here this guy's getting paid crazy, and now Matt Ryan. So we'll see what happens with it. I don't think it's worth it for any team to pay a quarterback that amount of money when you have so many other players, at least 22 other players you have to pay to start, or 21 to pay it, start at their position. I don't think it's worth it, but as long as they keep winning, they're going to do it. So.
Well, here's the thought I had with Garoppolo, and I heard this on another show, and I went and did some research. And if you think about it, with San Francisco, they had no choice but to pay him. They got him for a steal from New England for a second-round pick from New England. He wins all the games that he starts, and yes, it's a very, very small sample size. And I was thinking the same thing that you thought. Why are you paying a fellow, Jimmy Garoppolo, that you've only seen for 5 games? But from San Francisco's financial standpoint, they either had to pay him or they had to franchise him. And if you look at, if they franchise him, that's $27 million right there, and then another $34 for a second year. So $61 million over 2 years compared to $73 over 5. 49ers did the right thing in locking him in for 5 years.
That's one area where I'd probably have to disagree with you, because what if he goes out there this year and doesn't win a game?
True.
And then,
very true.
And then all of a sudden you're locked in for 5 years with one of the highest paid contracts in history. If you miss on the franchise tag, at least then you can just let him go. But I think the tough thing about Garoppolo is he has done so good in his first few games in the NFL that people think he's a can't miss. Mm-hmm. But there is no such thing as a can't miss as a quarterback.
Yeah.
You have to have the right coaching. You have to have the right players around you. I think Garoppolo is very, very talented. I think he has the potential and has the talent to be a great quarterback. But I think what may ruin him, and you and I have talked a little bit about this, I think what may ruin him is the pressure that San Francisco put on him by making him now have to perform. He has to perform like one of the best. He can't go out there and play like the rookies do. He can't play like the guys with the same amount of experiences as him do.
Right.
He has to go out there and play like Brady and Breeze and Rodgers, and he has to do that now. And I don't know that any quarterback could handle that.
Well,
especially, So I think that's I think it's a little bit dangerous, and I think it's scary for the NFL when every quarterback that comes up now, that's a starting quarterback, gets that kind of a contract. When's it going to end? And, what's that going to ultimately do to the balance in football? But, I think Garoppolo has the potential to be great this year. I think that the 49ers could be great this year. With that pressure, especially after being perfect.
Right.
How is he going to continue to carry that? And are fans going to, are people going to ditch out on him the first time he loses a game?
Yeah.
He hasn't lost a game in San Francisco yet. He hasn't. So I'm imagining that there's a lot of fans that are looking at the schedule and thinking, okay, good, we're going to go 16-0. This guy doesn't lose games. And I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I looked at it. Well, when does he lose his first game? Because he doesn't lose games. But he's going to at some point. And
yes.
How big of a disappointment is that going to be to everybody who's following him?
Mm-hmm. I don't think, for me, being a 49er fan but also being a realist, it's not going to be that disappointing for me because you bring up a very good point. There's a lot of pressure on Jimmy G in San Francisco. Hell, look at two of his predecessors. Do I need to mention who they are?
Right. But that's who people are talking about in life.
Right.
And that's who people are really assuming that he is. And if he's not, it's going to be a really scary world for him when people are starting to say to him, well, you only threw for 4,500 yards this year.
Mm-hmm.
Or you only threw for 40 touchdowns. What's wrong with you?
Well, this is where
I've already heard people saying.
Yeah.
I've already heard people saying he's going to easily throw for 5,000 yards.
No.
Nobody easily throws for 5,000 yards.
Unless you're Drew Brees. Unless you're Drew Brees and you do it 4 times. unless you're Drew Brees and you do it 4 times, and before you could blink, Brees has another 5,000-yard season. I thought it would be so tough when Marino set the record in '84 with 5,084 yards. I'm thinking, okay, nobody will throw for 5,000. Then in 2011, not 1, not 2, but 3 quarterbacks threw for 5,000 yards. Breeze being one of them, and then you blink, and he's got 4 of them.
Right. Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about that is, Brian, and I tell a lot of people, the reason why I admire Marino so much and still consider him possibly the greatest quarterback of all time is because they changed the rules in 2006.
Yes.
To benefit the offenses.
Uh-huh.
And then they changed them in 2007. And that was the year that Breeze became the first
touchdowns.
quarterback to go over 5,000 yards since Marino. So Marino did something since 1984. So over 2 decades, Marino did something nobody could do until the NFL gave them training wheels.
Yeah.
As soon as the NFL gave them training wheels, they were all able to do what Marino did. That shows you what a great quarterback that is.
Yeah.
That shows you what an amazing – he was doing things that weren't even possible.
Right.
And people say, oh, he just did it because he had great receiver. Well, other guys had great receivers, and who else did it? No one,
No one.
So, yeah, I think that makes it an amazing stat. And I think the fact that, like you said, it's only been done 9 times.
Mm-hmm.
Breeze has 5 of them. That's and nobody else has more than 1. So in my book, Breeze and Marino are the greatest passers of all time. I know people like to say greatest quarterback entails winning, or entails winning, but as far as just passers, those guys are incredible.
5,000-yard seasons. 5 of them.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And 3 of those 5 have come lately. No
Right.
one even, if you think about, everybody's watching Brady and others. No one even, if you think about it, pays attention to Drew Brees, and you look up, he's got 5,200 yards. What?
It's funny because I was actually researching a paper on to try to figure out who was better statistically, Manning or Brady.
Right.
And as I saw Brees. It's the only name I saw. I'm like, man, it's not even between these two anymore. This guy has everybody blown away. His name just kept popping up, and I'm like, nobody talks about him. We never hear about him. Nobody cares about him except for the people in New Orleans. but this guy is a living legend, like something we've never, ever seen before, and nobody even cares. And it's really that's why I'm starting to get a little frustrated with the NFL and these huge contracts, because now they've put a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo on the same level as Breeze. They've put a guy like Matt Ryan on the same level as Breeze.
Garoppolo has so much more to prove. I'm not putting Garoppolo on the same level as Drew Brees. I will never do that. Not after only 5 games. But y'all listen to this. I'm a statistical madman. People who know me know I do my research, and I preach this to the kids all the time. You got to do your research. In 2008, he threw for 5,069 yards. 2011, he threw for 5,476. 2012, he threw for 5,177. 2013, 5,162. And in 2016, 5,208. So not only did he bust Marino's record, 3 consecutive 5,000-yard seasons, and nobody batted an eye.
Right. Yeah, we're just so used to prolific quarterbacks now that throw for so many yards. It's not even impressive anymore. When Marino did it, there was hardly anybody that had thrown for 4,000.
Yeah.
And there's still a very small number of people that have thrown for 4,000 when you put it in comparison to all of the quarterbacks that have played.
Yeah.
4,000 is still kind of an elite club. Joe Montana never did it.
No.
That's how elite of a club is. Joe Montana never did it. And here you got now Drew Brees, like you said, shattering that and taking it to such a high level, and nobody's even noticing it because, quarterbacks now, people still say quarterback's the most important position, but you got guys like Tyrod Taylor who can go out there and put up video game numbers, and you can go. Cleveland can go out and get a quarterback like that. So there's guys everywhere now that are doing it, but Drew Brees is still doing it better. And I would have to say, as far as Garoppolo goes, he's probably had the most impressive 5 starts of anybody, for what he did with a team. What he did with a team that couldn't barely win a game, and he comes in and changes it. That's impressive to me, and I think he's got the ability to be great. I'm very interested to see what he does with the pressure.
Yeah.
If he comes out there and takes this team to the playoffs, I'm probably going to start looking at him as one of the greatest, to be able to do it with the pressure. But great at his level where he's at still in his career. But it's an interesting thing, especially when you see these guys like Marino who did it 2.5 decades ago.
Yeah.
And a guy like Drew Brees who's he's slipped off a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has another 5,000-yard season.
I wouldn't be surprised either. Well, he only, to make a joke out of this and bring up something you said before, he only threw, Breeze did, for, 43-34 last year.
And that's a horrible season for him.
Now, check this out.
That's how good this guy is.
Check this out.
That's how good this.
As we're looking at Breeze's stats, he has not had a season less than 4,000 yards since 2005. And in 2005 in San Diego, he threw for 3,576. He gets to New Orleans, and he just simply thrives in that breakneck, warp speed offense.
Right. I actually did research once that, and I figured out how many quarterbacks had thrown for, I can't remember what it was, like in their whole career, how many quarterbacks had thrown for 43,000 yards, I think it was, and how many had thrown for 30 touchdowns, I believe it was, in the season. And Drew Brees was averaging that as a Saint. That's what he does every year.
Yes.
I think it was 17 quarterbacks had been able to hit the pinnacle that he averages since he's been a Saint. In San Diego, he wasn't the same quarterback he is now. He's still good, but he wasn't the quarterback he is now. And now he's tearing it up. He's rewriting everything,
And I put a post up on Facebook, and I think you caught this. We got a couple minutes here. I think you caught this post. I said, with all of the times that Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were up for MVP awards and eventually won them, why was Drew Brees never considered? And I go back to the numbers that he put up. He came in second place three times. And I think one of those was the year he won it. He won the Super Bowl. 2010.
Aaron Rodgers won it that year, the MVP.
Why is Brees not considered MVP with all this ridiculous stuff he's putting up every year?
To me, it's a sad state of the NFL. It shows that it's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
People win because, we know Tom Brady. It's very easy to vote for Tom Brady. It's very easy to vote for Peyton Manning. And when the Packers are winning, it's easy to give it to Aaron Rodgers. But this is a guy, like you said, that maybe should have already won 5 or 6 and has never won one.
Mm-hmm.
Even the year he wins the Super Bowl, they didn't consider him good enough to have the MVP. And, he's had some amazing seasons. I think one of the hard parts is that he doesn't have the best passing season in the NFL. Peyton Manning does. And so I think that kind of takes a little bit away from him. Because if he had the top one, we would be talking a little bit more about him. But Peyton Manning owns it by 2 or 3 yards, I believe. It's not even even a lot. It's a couple, but it's enough. It's enough that Drew Brees is only in second place. So
does Brees finally get 50 touchdowns this year? Does he finally get 50?
I don't think he does this year because I think it's going to be hard for him the rest of his career as long as he has 2 great running backs, because now, they've changed that offense up a little bit, and now New Orleans is more of a running team. Like we said, last year he had one of his worst years in a long time.
and this is with 4,300 yards, man.
Right. And so, he's on decline, if you can actually say that. He's on decline.
So what is he gonna? So what is he gonna do? Hey, I know he's got 2 great running backs in his stable this year, and we can make a joke like this, but if you think about how quarterbacks' minds work, and you've watched football a long time just as I have, a joke could be made like this: Brees is on decline, and he could rip it up for 5,500 yards again.
He definitely could, and probably nobody would notice. And that's the sad thing.
That's the great.
It's what happens, and that's why people, that's why Dan Marino has fallen out of a lot of people's top 10 as the greatest quarterback of all time. Because
I love some Marino. I love me some Marino. Okay, I will always love Dan Marino. But looking at these numbers, 2017 for the man I call Cool Breeze was his lowest passing total. You ready for this? Since 2006, when he threw for 4,400 yards. What?
Right. It's incredible. And that's why I'm glad that we had this conversation on this show, because I love to pay homage to Drew Brees, because I don't think it even bothers him.
That's what I'm doing. This is going to be.
You never hear Drew.
Right.
You never hear Drew Brees say, "Hey, give me attention. Hey, look at me. Hey, pay attention to me." If anything, he downplays it a little bit. But this guy's a master.
He's having fun.
Yeah.
He's having fun. That's what I love the most about Drew Brees. Okay? The night he broke the most touchdowns in the season, the passing yards in the season, I beg your pardon. The night he broke Dan Marino's record, he was so modest about it, ready to go to the next play, and all his offensive linemen say, "Oh no, you're enjoying this," and they pick him up and they hug him and they hand him the football, and he's like, "What am I supposed to do with this? I got to throw it to somebody."
Right. I love that about him. And he's one of the shortest starting quarterbacks in the league.
And he's doing all of this.
Yeah.
And he's doing all of this. 70,000 yards for his career.
Name his 5 best receivers. There isn't even. You can't even really.
You can't.
Colston, Graham. Where do you go from there? I mean, he's had a few guys for a few years here and there, but
so everybody wants to say. So everybody wants to say Tom Brady has done a lot with less. I think the one who could really typify that is Drew Brees.
Right. Tom Brady has had some of the greatest receivers in the NFL. Randy Moss.
Gronk.
I mean, Gronk has done things, incredible things as a tight end, maybe the greatest tight end ever. I never thought anybody would say that after Tony Gonzalez, but this might be the greatest tight end ever. So,
yeah. But what can you do, man? I mean, y'all think about this. 5,000-yard seasons. 5 of them. And then back in the 80s, it was tough to even get a 4,000-yard season, let alone a 5,000-yard season. And then Marino's record stands until Drew Brees comes along in 2011 said, let me put it in, 2008, I beg your pardon, and says, let me put an end to this.
Right. Yeah, and he's continued to do great things since then. Yeah, now, I think you've probably read my story where I actually wrote about Brees.
Yes.
And actually some of his sponsors and everyone have actually read it too. But the name of the story was Expose the Secret Life of Drew Brees. And everybody thought I was going to say something mean about him. And then people started reading it and finding out, even fans from New Orleans, even Saints fans were telling me I had no idea how good he was. They said I knew he was good, but even people that had followed him every year of his career in New Orleans said we had no idea how good this guy is. And one of the funniest parts of the story.
When I read that story, I was expecting something completely different. And then I read it, and I'm going, you know what? This is just the type of piece that Pete will write. And I'm cracking up reading this. I'm cracking up reading it. In fact, it's one of my favorite stories I ever read. And I thank you for writing that, and I thank you for joining me. Pete Wiseman will join me throughout the season to talk some NFL, beginning now all the way to next February when we talk Super Bowl. But we're just getting started here. And I leave you with one more question.
Sure.
What do the Eagles have for an encore?
Oh, wow. Well, they're serious about winning. Most people,
they are.
They come out of nowhere to win a Super Bowl. They would just be happy with that, especially after it's the first one in franchise history. You would think that they would just sit back, relax, enjoy it. But no. And one of the things that I think that they did was the most telling is they actually let quite a bit of offensive talent go. Mm-hmm. They got rid of LeGarrette Blount.
Yep.
And Burton. So they got rid of some important offensive talent, and they went out and stacked that defense. And that to me shows they're not messing around. They don't want to just put up good numbers. They don't want to just make Wentz look good anymore. Now they want to go out and win. And I think that if the players and the rest of the team are as serious about winning as the front office is, it's going to be an amazing season. The only thing that makes me question a little bit is the Rams also got a lot better. The Vikings, filled some holes. Mm-hmm. And with the Patriots, you never know. They don't look that good anymore, but, the talent that they have on the roster. But Belichick has been wheeling and dealing, and they always find a way. So I think it's going to be a very interesting season. I'd say right now the Eagles have the edge, but you never know because there's some other good talent out there too.
And the ultimate troll job, David Akers in Dallas announcing the pick with the first name of Dallas, as in Dallas Goedert.
Right. I think he stole the draft, and Dallas was winning that battle for a while. I mean, they came Philly and made Philly look pretty foolish, and David Akers he laid the knockout punch in the first round. It was pretty amazing.
I loved it. Pete Wiseman joining me to talk NFL, and I'll designate a day for him each week, and he'll come on. He'll talk NFL throughout the course of the season. I'll have some help in doing that as well. Thanks a lot, Pete. Appreciate the time.
It was amazing to talk to you, Brian. I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the next time.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, bye.
The greatest thing. 5,000-yard seasons for Drew Brees. 5 of them. I'm trying to get Mike Lyle on the line here, and that's probably what you're hearing in the background. I beg your pardon. And I don't think he's available yet. So we're going to take a break. I'm going to get him on the line. I promise I am. I absolutely promise I am. Get him on the line. We'll come back in a minute.
Here, and Cleaver Supplements invites you to spring into action to get in the best shape of your life. Our supplements and products will help you do just that. You had a good winter season, and now it's time to show off and keep that great shape, great attitude, and work on getting even better for your life. Our Fat Burner, Super Swole Serum, and other products will keep you on track to a healthier and happier you. Do it for your family, do it for your friends, but most of all, do it for you. For more information, visit us online at cleaversupplements.com. Cleaver Supplements, pure supplements for when genetics are just not enough.
Welcome to the Butcher Box. Our beef is exactly the way that nature intended. 100% grass, antibiotic and hormone free, and never taken from feedlots. Just 100% healthy meat. We offer 2 to 5 day delivery to the contiguous 48 states. The meat is flash frozen at the peak of freshness, packed with dry ice, and shipped directly to your door. The beef is sourced from a collection of small grass-fed farms. It is of the utmost quality and tastes incredible. Our steak won a blind taste test cook-off with the Today Show in 2015. So for 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef, organic chicken, and heritage-bred pork delivered for free on your schedule for less than $6 per meal, visit arenasportsnet.com and click on the Butcher Box logo, and if you do so, you will receive 10% off your first order, or give Butcher Box a call at 855-981-8568.
What's up, everybody? Snowman here. Had a change in plans? You'll hear a classic conversation in 60 seconds.
Imagine a world where kids no longer played football, or baseball, or basketball. Hard to imagine? Well, what if no adults wanted to officiate? Right now, there's a critical shortage of high school officials, and you can do your part to make sure kids keep playing. For more information on how to become a licensed IHSA official, contact your local high school or visit the IHSA website at ihsa.org.
A message from the Illinois High School Association. Stay in the game.
This show is sponsored by Unforgettables. Unforgettables creates detailed hand-painted baseballs for every baseball fan. Check them out at unforgettables.com.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
Hadouken! That's a spicy meatball!
Welcome back inside of Marquette Catholic High School here in Michigan City. Folks, be ready. Blazer Nation is on the way beginning in August. You'll hear all of the exciting action here at Marquette Catholic, and that's why we're here to promote them. And I mentioned at the top of the show that I may have a surprise. I do have a surprise. This gentleman was drafted by the Detroit Pistons. He was then traded to the Atlanta Hawks, where I first got to see him play, wearing the old number 53. And of course, anyone in Chicago remembers him spending a couple of years with the Chicago Bulls and won 2 championships. And an all-around good guy, nicknamed Good News. He joins me right now. Cliff Livingston sitting here.
What's going on? Well, I'm doing great. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, my friend. You know, how you been? How's it been going for you?
Oh, I've been doing good. I've been busy as a beaver. You know, I'm coaching up in Rochester, New York, and now I'm home for a minute to get work with the basketball camps and work with the kids here in the neighborhood. But I just been basketball.
It doesn't stop, does it?
No, it doesn't. I was just in at the summer league up in Las Vegas, and looking at about 500 kids. So because I'm coaching up in Rochester, New York in the PBL, so I'm just trying to work on getting my team together now.
Is it different transitioning from a player to a coach?
It's a big difference. I mean, playing is one thing. You see things on the floor, but on the sideline, you're watching a lot more things going on. You're watching the guys on the floor. You're watching your plays. You're watching the timing of how the game is going. It's a lot more entailed when you're sitting on the sideline calling the shots.
It is different from being a player to being a coach. You've played with both Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan, two Hall of Famers, and Isaiah Thomas. what was that like? You didn't know it at the time. What was it like playing with 3 Hall of Famers in your career? What was that like?
Well, it's the difference between all of the guys you just mentioned is the work ethic. A lot of people say, I hear a lot of guys talking about, well, I'm going to be, I got to save it for the game. I got to save it for the game. Well, with Michael, it wasn't no saving for the game. He did it in practice. Everything he did was getting ready for the game. His whole mental approach for the game was, I'm going to practice the things I want to do in the game in practice. So when the game time comes around, I can see those situations and be ready for those situations. And then on top of that, when you got your all-star practicing every day with you, you get your continuity and your rhythm. And a lot of people don't understand that in a basketball, it's about rhythm. Whoever can have the best rhythm and sustain the rhythm for the longest usually win the ball games.
Talking with Cliff Livingston here inside the afternoon locker room, and you mentioned something that a lot of my friends mentioned to me about Michael's work ethic being absolutely off the charts. And it's so true, and I know it's a message that you want to get to the kids here. Whatever you do in practice translates into the game. How do you get that message to the kids and get them to understand that that's what it takes?
Well, as a coach, I always preach, whoever practice hard is the one who's going to play the minutes, most minutes. And I'm a firm believer. You earn all your minutes in practice. If you're just sloughing off in practice, how can I count on you in a game to finish the game for me? If, I can't count on you for practice to finish practice for me, I know I can't count on you for the game, and the game is what it's all about.
Right.
So, I'm a firm believer. You practice hard, you play hard, easy. When I was with the Bulls, when we got into the game time, it wasn't about if we were going to win or lose. It was how much we were going to win by. Because in practice, we practiced all out, and we kept scoring practice. So if you're keeping score in practice every day, he's got 3 up on me right now. I got to get 1. I got to get back up in the game. Got to make sure I'm in the game. So in the game time, when the game comes, the game is easier because, first of all, in practice, all the guys, your own plays. You know where guys are going to be. So if you're pushing each other hard in practice, when you go against the guys in the game, they don't quite know exactly what you're going to do in the game.
Exactly.
So it becomes easier. Now you can work on other things, your defense. You can work on your rebounding. You can work on your boxing out. You can stay focused on the game a little more. I tell my games, it's a game within the game within the game. Once you understand that, it doesn't seem like, well, what a game within the game within the game. That don't make much sense. Well, there's a game. You got the game, the basketball game. Then you got the game of playing against your man. Then you got a game against the numbers, what you're trying to obtain. So it's the game within the game within the game.
It really is. And having those 3 levels, and 3 levels of understanding is very important, especially when it comes to basketball being one of the greatest team sports to play. And I asked you about your experience of playing with MJ and with Dominic and Isaiah, and you mentioned the work ethic being there and having all that in practice and getting the message out to the kids. I know this is a redundant question, but I'm going to ask it, but I want the kids to understand that are tuning in. How important is it to take what you do every day on or off the floor into your lifestyle?
Basketball, you can relate basketball to anything in the world, anything you do in life. Whether you're working a sales job, whether you're working a job where you have a team everybody working on their part. Basketball's the same way. Sales is basically going out, being aggressive, and making things happen. Same thing with basketball. You go out, you're playing defense, you're trying to make things happen so you can get the ball back. You have a team project. Well, basketball's the same way. In order to get the ball from one end of the floor down to the other end of the floor, sometimes you have to pass it to another player. Well, when you're working on team building skills, basically everyone has their projects to do. You do your project, he does his project, she does hers, and we come together, we have a whole finished product. It's just like basketball. Basketball's a quarter. This quarter leads to this quarter. The next quarter leads to the next quarter. The fourth quarter, and at the end of the game, you see who won. So
the fourth quarter is the finish.
Right, and once you put everything together, then you have a finished project. Same thing with like I said, team building skills. You have to work together. You know, you were talking about Michael and Dominique and Isaiah. The only difference between the three of them were Michael worked the hardest in practice. And what I mean by that is not just going in practice. He would play 40 minutes a game, and then the next day he comes in full practice. Whereas playing with Dominique and Isaiah, if they played 40 minutes in practice, they're going to sit out the next practice because they don't want to get their bodies tired and everything. But Michael was the epitome of a workhorse. He knew how to work and get the best out of his body. He conditioned his body to work, play 40 minutes in the game, come the next day in practice just as hard as he did in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That'd get him ready for the next game. You know, a lot of people say, well, I don't want to wear my body out. Well, you know what? You wear your body out when you don't push your body. When you push your body and make your body work, that's when you really see the work that you put in.
And let me ask you this, a couple fun questions for you. What was your favorite arena to play in, and what was your least favorite arena to play in?
Well, my favorite arena to play in, believe it or not, was Boston Garden. It was an old, raggedy, crickety arena, but had a lot of character. When you walked in there, you can feel the guys of the past who've been on that floor, the championships that was won in there. I mean, it was one of those arenas that had so much character in it. You enjoy playing in arenas like that. My least favorite, I would say, was Richfield Arena in Cleveland.
Richfield Coliseum.
Richfield Coliseum was in Cleveland. It was just so dark, gloomy.
And it was in the middle of nowhere.
It's the middle of nowhere.
They're called the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they were playing in Richfield, and I didn't understand that
either. It was Cleveland Cavaliers. I think it was playing in the cornfields of Ohio because it was in the middle of nothing was around there.
Nothing was around there.
You finished the game. You finished the game. It was like, okay, where are we going to get something to eat at?
Right.
where are we going to go to do anything? So it was those are my two least favorite.
It's one of those kind of times, one of those kind of stadiums where like, okay, we need to get out of here. We need to get out of here now,
right?
Because if something jumps up out of the cornfield, you don't know what's going to.
You don't know what's going to happen.
And I made a trip to Sacramento one year, and Arco Arena is the same
way.
situation.
But you know what, though? But see, the Arco Arena was a lot of energy in that building.
There is.
And that's why you like playing at Arco Arena. It was loud. The people were right on top of you, and you can appreciate buildings like that.
How much fun was it to play in the old Chicago Stadium?
Now, that building right there, probably in the playoffs, I mean, I remember in the playoffs, in the finals, in the first finals, it was so eerie walking in the building, because when you walk in the building, your hairs on the back of your neck start standing up.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so much electricity from the fans, and the fans probably were the loudest I've ever been in the arena because.
And that was the first NBA Finals.
That was the very first one, and I remember. I mean, I remember walking in that building, and all the hairs on my back of my neck and my arms just stood straight up, and it was like, wow, what the heck just happened? Something touched me. Something did something,
It's the aura of Chicago Stadium. And the Bulls making their first trip to the finals.
But it was more the fans that really lifted everyone up. I mean,
that place was electric. That place was electric.
When they did the introductions, even the players, we could not hear ourselves, and we're standing next to each other.
Right.
Once they said, John Pax, and that was it. You couldn't hear nothing else from that point on.
And you wouldn't either.
Because it was Michael. And we're standing next to each other. We're trying to figure out. Okay, all right, okay. Oh, yeah, we cheer now. All right, let's go to the huddle. Let's go.
And the thing is, you won't even hear, if you're at the stadium, you won't even hear from North Carolina.
No, you don't hear that.
Because it was so loud. The only reason that I would hear it, watching on television,
on television you can hear it.
They had the microphone pointed at Ray Clay.
Yeah, so it was, like I said, those buildings were just, those old buildings were so electrifying. And the new buildings are beautiful. They're nice.
But they're not.
Aesthetically pleasing. But they're just not
the same. They're just not the same arenas, and that's a point that I've made to a lot of people. A place that you call home, the Omni, in Atlanta.
The Omni was great, but now, like I said, it's just they're massive, and then it's more the way they're built. They're more built going outwards opposed to up. The old stadiums was up, and everything was like right on top of you.
When you played at the Omni, and I had a chance to see it, it's like you said, they're built up. The stands were just built up, and it's just like one long mezzanine.
Oh my gosh!
The Omni held 16,000 people in there, but it felt louder than that.
Oh.
being in there.
Well, when you have, if you think about it, when you have a tighter space, going up opposed to going out.
Right.
Sound is just all over the place there. But when he goes out, it's just going everywhere. And it's a long way to bounce back to come back. Sound waves have a long way to get back to you.
And I have to ask this: when you saw MJ with his 35-point first half performance, when you guys were sitting there watching this happen, and you back to an earlier point. You knew what was going to happen because you saw it in practice.
Yeah.
You saw him put this much effort into practice, but to see it manifest itself 10 times over, in Game 1 of the 92 final, what was that like? Seeing that performance happen in the first half.
Well, Michael was one of those rare creatures. I mean, it's like he's seen the game before. He played the game and seen the game before it was even there. Watching him going through a game, it's like you see where it's going before it's going because you've seen it in practice.
Yes.
It's like, okay, he's heating up. You better watch out. Somebody's going to get roasted.
And then that was you with the towel.
Oh, yeah.
When he's waving around saying he is hot, and he was.
Well, you know what? When he gets on, it's like nobody can do that to him. It's almost like when a big forest fire gets raging. It's going to go until it has nothing else to burn up. Then it'll burn itself out.
And then you can tell you can tell when he hits that one jumper and he knows he's turned on because he'll start chirping on defense, getting everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, Mike is one of those guys who was really pumped up by his defense. He says step up behind him because he's going to play defense just as hard as he play offense, if not harder. And a lot of people don't give him credit for his defense, but his defense, I mean, he's won defensive play. He's been on all defensive teams before, and people don't recognize
that. And he also was Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, and people don't realize that. But, just being an offensive player, that's what everybody remembers him by. But Mike was one of those guys who he wanted to win at all costs. He's going to do whatever he had to do to win. If it costs him to play better defense, he's going to play better defense and win. Whereas with Dominique, his philosophy for defense is more offense. So that's the difference. Yeah, it's completely different. You say, Nick, hey, we got to win. Okay, I just put more offense up.
And the thing, and I'll bring it back to a point that you said. Defensively, Michael was a beast.
He was a beast.
He was an absolute beast because, and I'll say it again, and I've seen it so many times, and I know you've seen it so many times. If he hits that one jumper that knows that's going to get him going, when he starts trotting back on defense and he's directing everybody and chirping and getting everybody going. You know he was getting ready to take off.
You can see right when he's getting ready to make that next move. It's like, okay, all right, he's going to go to the next level. You better hold on or you're going to get left behind. Either you hold on and get left behind or you're going to get rolled over, one or two. So, so he takes the team and he takes everyone with him on that ride. And he wants and that's why he's such a competitor with his players. A lot of people say, sometimes he can be arrogant, he can be mean, he gets up in your face. Well, he gets up in your face because he's telling you what he wants.
Right.
Okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to be here when I make this move. In case I get caught, I know where you are. And a lot of people don't understand that. He's going to get that ball to the person he needs to get the ball to because he's such a creator, and everyone's going to run to him. And he just want to make sure that when he makes his move, that you're right there when he needs you to dump that ball off and finish.
What was it like? Last question. What was it like when the final horn sounded in the Forum in 1991, and you guys realized you just won a world championship? What was that feeling like?
Honestly, I thought it was another quarter. You think it's still going because you're not supposed to beat the Lakers. Especially in the Forum. So it was like, did we just beat the Lakers? We just beat them.
We
beat them.
3 straight games you beat them there.
Yeah, and the funny part about that is the first game we played, we were in uncharted waters. Everyone didn't really know what to expect, and I remember we went to overtime and lost with Perkins hitting shots.
Yep.
And I went in the locker room and said, yeah, all right, good game, fellas, good game. Okay, we lost them, let's beat them. I mean, let's sweep them.
Right.
Michael,
you got the first one.
Well, Michael walked up to me and said, Cliff, you got to win the first one to sweep them.
Yep.
Well, let's win the next 4. And then we went out to L.A. and we won the next 4.
Yep.
So, it was one of those things that we knew we could beat L.A. after we went to the wall with them and we didn't play our best game.
Yeah.
So it was only, well, okay, fellas, well, let's go out here and do this right here, because we knew we had them after that point on.
And game 2 was the most pivotal game of that series when you blew them out in the stadium.
We blew them out, and then we went to L.A. the first game, beat them in the first game in L.A.
And that one was the big one when you came back from 13 down, and you beat them in overtime.
Right, because, well, what happened was the starters wasn't playing well, and the second unit came in. And the second unit got us got momentum going. And then it's like, if you get it going, don't worry about it. That back cat going to take over. He's going to take it to the next level.
What was it like playing under Phil Jack?
Phil was, at first, I wasn't sure about Phil because my first year there, I was playing a lot. And then, second part of the season, he wasn't playing me as much. And I was upset because I thought, he was holding me back because I had an option year on my contract. So, I went to Phil, and I told Phil, what's going on? At first I was playing a lot, and I'm not playing no more. Is it because of my option on my contract? You guys not trying to play? He said, no, Cliff, no. I said, well, I feel this, you guys not trying to honor my option. That's why you're not playing. He said, no. Then he sat me down. He opened up papers, and his file, and he said, see, we're playing against West Coast teams. You're a banger. You play more against the East Coast teams. And it made sense. So I was like, oh, okay. So, he showed me he knows his players, when they play well, who they play well against, and how to play them. And I gained a lot of respect for him. And then when we came in the finals, his thing was, I know we're playing against a West Coast team, and he said, I need somebody to stop Worthy. I need somebody. I said, I want to do it. Let me do it. He gave me the opportunity to go out there and, be able to control and contain Worthy, and I did that, and that changed a lot of the momentum of the game because, at that time Worthy was really killing us, and he needed somebody to slow Worthy down and stop him, and I got a chance to be part of stopping him, and I think I did a very good job to help.
Well, that takes care of our classic conversation. Let me take a break for a couple of minutes. To Neil Jackson on the other side.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare young people in Illinois for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Illinois High School Association and the Illinois Athletic Directors Association.
Hey, folks, don't go away. Hour number 3 on the way.
This is the King of Connecticut, Matt Granahan. And there's a new sheriff in town and a new king of morning talk. So move over, Howard Stern, Brian Snow, the Snowman. Snowman in the morning. Catch the show every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
Hey fans, spring is here and Cleaver Supplements invites you to spring into action to get in the best shape of your life. Our supplements and products will help you do just that. You had a good winter season, and now it's time to show off and keep that great shape, great attitude, and work on getting even better for your life. Our Fat Burner, Super Swole Serum, and other products will keep you on track to a healthier and happier you. Do it for your family, do it for your friends, but most of all, do it for you. For more information, visit us online at cleaversupplements.com. Cleaver Supplements, pure supplements for when genetics are just not enough.
Welcome to the Butcher Box. Our beef is exactly the way that nature intended. 100% grass-fed and grass-finished, antibiotic and hormone-free, and never taken from feedlots. Just 100% healthy meat. We offer 2 to 5 day delivery to the contiguous 48 states. The meat is flash frozen at the peak of freshness, packed with dry ice, and shipped directly to your door. The beef is sourced from a collection of small grass-fed farms. It is of the utmost quality and tastes incredible. Our steak won a blind taste test cook-off with the Today Show in 2015. So for 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef, organic chicken, and heritage-bred pork delivered for free on your schedule for less than $6 per meal, visit arenasportsnet.com and click on the Butcher Box logo, and if you do so, you will receive 10% off your first order, or give Butcher Box a call at 855-981-8568.
This is Snowman in the Morning, where true sports talk lives.
What? Are you kidding me? Need a little excitement?
You know what, Liz?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Hey, folks, sorry about the confusion this morning. Mike Lyle was scheduled to join me a half hour ago. Unfortunately, he ran into a bit of a He ran into a bit of a schedule conflict. That's why you heard an old conversation that I had with one Cliff Livingston. And now I'm awaiting my 11 a.m. guest in Tennille Jackson. She's scheduled to join me here in a couple of moments. But again, I apologize for the switch that we had to make. As mentioned, Michael Lyle had a schedule conflict come up. He asked to come on tomorrow, and he will. And speaking of guests that are coming on now, let me tell you about this particular guest. One word describes her besides friend and fellow business visionary. Authorpreneur. What do I mean about that? I'm going to let her explain. Tennille Jackson now joins me on the HiQ Audio Hotline. Good morning, my dear.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
I am doing well. Great to talk to you today.
Absolutely the same here.
Now, I love the word authorpreneur. I know it's a spinoff from entrepreneur, but instead of me trying to explain it, I figured I'd let the person who coined the phrase explain it.
Well, you know what? I have to be totally honest. I did not coin it. I don't know who did. I just used the mess out of it, right? So what entrepreneur, what it refers to is really just that, what you said. Once an author writes a book, they have in turn created a product, and depending on how far you go with it, you created a business. So now you are in the business of selling books. So whether you want to take that and simply sell books or become a speaker or a coach, it's so many different things that you can do once you become a published author, and hence the term authorpreneur. You are both an author and an entrepreneur all in one.
Well, that will make me a sports talkpreneur because I've been doing this show 5 years now. It'll be 5 years in October. I love the term. I love when you come on your Facebook Live and do your broadcast and just encourage people. How did you get started in being an author? What was the door that was kicked open for you to become an author?
You know what? I actually was going back to school to get my master's degree. True story. I woke up one day. It was really just divinely inspired. It was one night I was kind of unctioned. I was woken up and just prompted to write this book. My first book was called Pleasing Your Partner, A Spiritual Guide to Happiness. And happiness actually is an acronym that stands for humility, assurance, peace, prosperity, integrity, newness, endurance, submission, and strength. And so the premise of the book is how you take those 9 traits and use it to work your relationship. And the thing about it, it's not even necessarily you don't have to be in a relationship. If you're not in a relationship, you can still use those traits to get the best out of yourself so that when you are in a relationship, you'll get the best out of your relationship.
That is absolutely wonderful. 2012, the Chicago Children's Museum at Navy Pier featured you in Celebrating Authors. Take us through that experience.
Oh, my God. It was crazy, Brian, because I had no clue. 2012 was actually a really crazy year for me because I was also celebrated by CBS Chicago that answer, and I had no idea. I didn't know. Like, the president of Chicago Writers Association actually called me to tell me about. He was congratulating me on the article, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So he sent it to me. I didn't even know about it. And so later that year, you see what I'm saying? Later that year, I got a call from somebody from Navy Pier, and they were like, "Well, you know what? We want to honor you. We're doing our African American Heritage Month or something like that." And they were celebrating African American authors, and they wanted for me to be one of the featured authors. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" So it was incredible, because, and when you're an entrepreneur, you're not really doing it for the accolades. You're doing it because it's your passion. It's what you love. And so when you find out that other people are starting to see you, they're watching out for you, it's really kind of surreal. And so that's how 2012 was for me.
I can so relate to that because anybody who has heard me do play-by-play over the years knows 2012 I was covering Marist High School, and they had not one but two miracle finishes. And the first one, I didn't think anything would come from it. Anyone knows me, I'm in the moment. When I'm doing my play-by-play, if an exciting play happens, I describe it accordingly. Well, it got so exciting, and I was freelancing for High School Cube at the time, that the finish of that game against Curie, and no one, I got an email late that Sunday night, that Deadspin got a hold to the call. That Monday morning, I get an email from High School Cube saying, "Brian, your call is on the way to ESPN." I said, "Oh, that's nice."
Wow. I
fell back to sleep, and then 5 minutes later, I woke up and said, "What?" And that's
exactly. What just happened? Wait, what? Like, the ESPN? Because that's exactly how I felt when I got the call to say that CBS Chicago had featured me. Like, wait, who? Wait, CBS Chicago? When did they even see me? Like,
right.
You don't know, and that's why it's always so important to put your best foot forward
yes.
at all times, whether you feel like it or whether you don't, because you never know who's watching, or in your case, who's listening. You
yes.
never know.
Well, when I got the word that my clip was going to ESPN, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to play it a couple of times on SportsCenter and to be done with it. Yeah, then I started getting a flood of tweets and messages saying your call made the SportsCenter top 10, and I'm going, are you serious right now?
Wow.
So what happens? All my friends turn it on, and I described it best when it happened. My computer turned upside down with messages.
Wow.
And it's like,
yeah.
This just can't be happening. Then the request for radio interviews started, and when those requests start, they don't stop.
Absolutely. You got to get ready to ride the wave, and that's why we tell people you don't have time to prepare for success.
No.
Like, you got to go in knowing that you want to be successful, because the fact is that you don't know when it's going to hit. Like, you might have this plan, and you might say, okay, within the next 3 years, the next 5 years, but the fact of the matter, it could happen in that first year, or it might take 10 years. But whenever it happens, you have to be ready to ride that wave.
And the wave for me kept going. 3 days later, when Marist took down Bogan, and Bogan was another highly ranked team in the area, and I had another great call, and I will live out a promise to the fans. I'll play both of those later in the week. And then Dan Patrick's producer emailed me saying, you're coming on the show in 20 minutes. We need some information for you. And I'm going, hey, what?
Wow.
Wait. Dan Patrick, somebody I had admired in terms of sports talk for 20 years. I'm going to talk to him. What?
Yeah. Yes.
And to this day, it's been 6 years. To this day, I still get calls about that interview. I get calls about those interviews. I just had 2 schools over in Northwest Indiana request me to call their games, one of which I'm going to honor. It's like you said. Once that wave hits, it's crazy.
It is, and you really have to be ready for it. And sometimes you're not, and it's not because of lack of preparation or even skill set on your part. Sometimes life situations don't line up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're just not in a predicament where your situation, whether it's a financial situation or a family situation or even a health situation. Sometimes you're not in a predicament where you can ride the wave. And so the sad part to it is that there are times where you may only get one wave. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not able to ride that wave, you don't know that you will get another one. So you just really have to believe that, you know what, if this is meant for me, then when it's supposed to happen, everything will line up right and it will be able to happen and I will be able to take advantage of it. And so definitely kudos to you. And I am so proud of you for everything that you've been doing. Because I say, even though you do sports, you are always able to intertwine so many other things and you still hit so many different audiences just beyond the sports audience, I
appreciate that. 2013 saw Tennille also become the founder of Authors Promoting Success. And I remember the day that this hit because we talked about it when you were nervous for a bit and then you said, the heck with it, let's go with it. 2 years later, you open your bookstore, APS Books and More, deemed as the home to the independent author. Take me through the process of what led you to start APS.
You know what, Brian? So the organization, that was really something that came from all these other authors that I had known, right? So when we were talking about the first book. So when the first book came out, I literally did tour the country. I went to all these different cities and states from, like your Michigans and Kansas and Memphis and, Dallas and Houston and Indiana. I was kind of everywhere, Ohio, and I met all these different authors, and I would always just share my experiences, and a lot of people were like, this is your first book and you're an award-winning author coming out the door. And I'm like, that's just, I cannot take credit for that. To God be the glory for that. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
And so I would meet all these different authors and they would ask me, what my experiences were and how I did this, that, and the other. And I would just freely answer them. And I didn't know that that was something that was not, in the norm. I didn't know that that was not what everybody did. And so I had so many different authors from different states that were like, Tennille, you need to start your own organization, because there's so many authors that could benefit from the information that you have, from, the skills that you provide, that all of these different things, you need to have your own organization. And so that's really what kind of initially prompted me to start to be the founder of Authors Promoting Success, because that's what it's about. When we are together, our mantra is we are better together. And I'm just not one, know me, I'm not one that feels like I'm better than anybody else. And I really believe that we can all benefit from each other. And so from there, it was kind of natural progression of things, because 2014 is when I did the publishing company. But then in 2015, again, I cannot take credit for it. I really believe that God led me to open up a bookstore, and it was not to be a mainstream bookstore. Even now I describe my bookstore more so as a book boutique. And so we don't house mainstream authors. I don't do erotica, I don't do street lit. I really provide a platform for indie authors. That's what my calling, if you want to call it like that, that's what my calling is. I am able to provide all these different platforms for indie authors to gain exposure and achieve success in the literary industry. That's really what I do.
And you do a wonderful job. Let me tell y'all how Tennille and I met. I was invited to a Chicago Black Wall Street meeting. And just by chance, it was the only one that I went to. And that's where I met TJ. And TJ and I started putting our heads together going, there's got to be something better than this. I mean, nothing against the organization, but what were they actually promoting in terms of independence and in terms of, having your own business? And that's where Tennille and I started putting our heads together going, okay, what can we do? How can we, make an impact? And I've tried for 3 years to get TJ on the show, folks, but she's been so busy. I've been so busy. You guys know I keep an ignorant play-by-play schedule in excess of 100 games a year. And now she's finally on the show with me this morning. And the day that I think I can honestly say, the day that we met and we had that conversation outside of the office of what more can we do, kickstarted everything.
Yeah, I will have to agree with that because, and sometimes that really is the purpose of things. We may have both, independently wanted to come to this event for a particular reason, not knowing that the reason why we were there was for us to meet each other.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times that's just how things happen. You think that you're coming for one particular thing, and true purpose ends up revealing itself. So I think that was the case with the whole Black Wall Street encounter. I really do.
I really believe that too. I remember the day you opened your store and how excited you were about it. And how's that going? How's the feedback been since you opened it?
You know what? It has been crazy, Brian, because we were in Forest City Mall in Chicago for right at 2 years, and then I ended up moving. Without going into the long, drawn-out story, I get an abrupt letter giving me 12 days saying, you know what, we are changing our vision. We no longer want to deal with indie stores. So Forest City has sent out letters to every independent store.
Oh, wow.
And they decided that they want to get rid of all of them. They only wanted corporate partners. And it was very abrupt, but you know what? I had such a peace inside of me, and I tell this to everybody, like, I didn't know what my next move was going to be. I really thought that I was done with the bookstore thing, and I was fine with it because I'm like, because for everybody that talks about nobody reads anymore and your bookstore isn't going to thrive, like, we didn't stop because we were bankrupt. We were, there was an abrupt stop to the movement beyond us. And so anyway, that was in January of 2017. And when I tell you the following month or so, I ended up getting my new location, which is on 26 in Lawndale. I'm 2653 South Lawndale. And I really love it because I'm an independent establishment now. And so now I'm more of a fixture in the community as opposed to just being one of many stores in the mall. And so we moved there officially. We opened April 1st last year. So we've been in the new place for a little bit over a year, and we still got some expansion things that's happening. I have not officially announced it to the public yet, but we will be doing a launch party of sorts on July 14th this year. And again, you're kind of exclusive to get it because I haven't even announced it yet, but we are expanding because when I first got the building, I just had downstairs. Now I have the entire building. So there are going to be some other things I'll be doing upstairs, and so we're going to launch it officially July 14th. So I would say things with Authors Promoting Success are going well. The organization itself is thriving. We got so many different authors coming on board. The publishing company is doing well. The bookstore is doing well. We're in the midst of planning for the second annual awards gala. That's going to be Thursday, August 23rd. So it's really just, it's prospering, and it's a blessing.
Every event that you have, you send it to me. I'll read it on the air and get some people to come out. And I'd like to come out for that christening on July 14th.
Absolutely. I wouldn't have it any other way. I definitely want you to be there. It is going to be kind of like a chic type of thing. So you probably would just wear a tie anyway, but it's going to be.
You know me.
So
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you
so
know
it's
me.
Summertime, we're doing it. It's gonna be like a adult type of a thing. So like when
Yeah.
I did the gala, it was at night, but it was a family oriented. This one is gonna be adults only. It's gonna be a swanky type of event, and so absolutely, I'm gonna get you that information so you can come. I would love for you to be there.
Man, it's such love. I appreciate it. Neil Jackson joining me here on Snowman in the Morning. Finally, y'all heard it.
Yeah.
Got a big event coming on. Finally, I got her on the show, and y'all heard it. Big event coming on July 14th. Not only will I be there to support, I'll also be there to cover it. I may have to put a show together and do it live from the location just to show y'all what's going on. You know, in fact, you know what? Matter of fact, put it in the book. Put it in the book and put it in ink. Put it in
Write
ink.
it down.
There will be a Al Michael said it during a 49ers game on Monday Night Football. You can put it in ink. I will be there July 14th, and we got a special show. We'll give you all the details as we go along. Man, it is such a pleasure to finally get you on. And like I told you, I'd love for APS to be a partner of the show and of the network. And any event that you have or any sale that you have or whatever, You let me know. It turns into a live read. I'll put your logo on the website and everything. I know I said that a couple of years ago, been through a little turbulence, but I mean every word of that.
I appreciate it, Brian. I know you do. And I'm so glad for the bounce back. I love the stamina and the electricity that's in your voice. This is the Brian of old, and I'm so proud to have you back. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Man, I love being back. Thanks for the time, my dear. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, sir, for having me.
Man, oh man. Y'all heard it. July 14th, a special show. And I think I'll use my second one, the Sports Corner, to do that show. I'll use the second show, the Sports Corner, to do that show. But keep tuned to this show to see what the heck we are doing. That's July 14th, the APS christening special, store christening special. We're going to be there, and we're going to have a lot of fun. And I think that's going to do it. I'll take one more break, give you a final word, and wrap it up after this.
Some energy drinks want to scare you. Some even want to bully you around. And the others, they're just blowing smoke. Packed with vitamins B3, B5, B6, and B12, the new HiQ energy drink comes available in 4 exciting flavors. Skyberry Fusion, Apple, Coconut Fruit Punch, and Lemon Lime. Natural caffeine, no preservatives, no crash, no bull. HiQ energy drink. Wings are for birds.
Hey, folks, want to be a sponsor of this show? Drop an email to snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com. That's snowmaninthemorning@gmail.com.
This show sponsored by Unforgettables. Unforgettables creates detailed hand-painted baseballs for every baseball fan. Check them out at unforgettables.com.
Who do I perform for? I perform for all the awesome composers whose music deserves to be heard.
I perform for all the stagehands who make sure I never miss a cue.
I perform for our high school choir director who taught me to breathe from the diaphragm and sing from the heart.
Speech, debate, theater, music. The performing arts teach valuable life lessons that typically aren't taught in the classroom. They help high school students learn leadership skills that prepare them to enjoy more satisfying, productive lives.
I perform for Mrs. Evans, my high school debate coach, who has helped me become more confident than I ever dreamed possible.
This message presented by the Illinois High School Association and the high school in your community.
Hey, I've got a question for you. Who will you perform for?
Hey fans, spring is here and Cleaver Supplements invites you to spring into action to get in the best shape of your life. Our supplements and products will help you do just that. You had a good winter season, and now it's time to show off and keep that great shape, great attitude, and work on getting even better for your life. Our Fat Burner, Super Swole Serum, and other products will keep you on track to a healthier and happier you. Do it for your family, do it for your friends, but most of all, do it for you. For more information, visit us online at cleaversupplements.com. Cleaver Supplements, pure supplements for when genetics are just not enough.
It doesn't matter if you dominate the lane or dazzle in the distance run. It doesn't matter how quick you are off the blocks or how far your curveball drops off the table. It doesn't matter if you're all-area, all-state, or a high school All-American. And it really doesn't matter as long as you play the game with integrity, by respecting your opponent and officials, following the rules, and practicing sportsmanship. It isn't always easy, but it's the only way to play. If you can be a good sport, if you can treat your opponent the way you'd like to be treated, then it doesn't matter if you have a rocket for an arm, a cannon for a serve, or a vertical leap to the sky. You'll always be a champion. Sportsmanship. Are you up for the challenge?
This message has been brought to you by the Illinois High School Association, celebrating more than 100 years of high school sports and activities in Illinois. Challenge yourself.
Man alive, what a show we had this morning. What a show. Thank you to Pete Wiseman, to Trace Nine, and a special thank you to Neil Jackson. Finally got her on the show. I'm so proud of her, my dear friend. Proud of APS Books. She's a mom. She's a family. She's a wife. She's a mother, and she's an entrepreneur. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Tomorrow, Mike Lyle will indeed join me as we talk mental illness in the black community. Got some NBA news and notes for you, and some more stuff. Till tomorrow, Snowman here, bidding you all a very, very pleasant day. Hope it's warm wherever you are, because it's warm here. We're doing a lot of building, getting our new studio together, and thank you, TJ, when she said, I love the bounce back. And to quote Steve Harvey, sometimes you just got to jump. You're not going to land very well, but sometimes you got to jump. Well, for those of you who know what's going on with me, today is the day that I jumped. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Snowman out.